You're listening to the Soulless Minions of Orthodoxy, alternative DVD commentaries. Today we are watching 1979 Star Trek, the motion picture. Hello, I'm Josh, and sitting with me in the Soulless Minion studios, as always, is my compatriot, compadre, bro, Justin.
Amigo, Justin.
So, if you're going to watch this movie with us, which we hope you do, we're watching the theatrical cut, not the director's cut that came out on DVD some time ago. We're watching the theatrical cut, which is available on the Blu-ray, so please have that in hand, because if you try to watch with any other version, well, it's not going to work very well. So go ahead and find the black point after the Paramount logo has faded to black, which is about 1:54 on the counter clock. We're going to go ahead and skip the very nice overture, but there's really nothing going on but some stars streaking across the screen, so we figured, well, we'll just skip that. So about 1:54, so go ahead and press pause after the Paramount logo fades to black. Give you the countdown. Get ready. 3, 2, 1. Unpause. Paramount Pictures presents. So we've been wanting to do this for a while.
Well, wasn't this a request?
Sort of. Yeah.
So was it or wasn't it?
Yes, and yes, it was. I think I suggested it, and it became sort of a request.
Okay.
So we don't get many of those, so we appreciate those when they come.
Well, obviously we're starting off with the very well-known opening score, which got reused for TNG. This is an excellent score. Not just this particular track, but the entire movie has a fantastic score.
Do you think it outdoes the movie?
You know, yes, but I really do think something you had said yesterday was really the key to describing this score, and that it elevates.
I said something intelligent yesterday?
Yeah, you did.
Okay.
You said that it elevates the movie.
Okay.
And it really does. Some scores complement, some scores don't match. But this particular score, like you said, I think elevates the
One
movie.
score that always sticks out in my mind as being not matching the film is Mission to Mars.
Yeah.
It's got a weird score. Robert Wise, the director of The Day the Earth Stood Still.
Yeah.
And West Side Story.
Yeah. Quite an accomplished director. Space.
Klingons.
Now this was
This is the redesign.
No. They had this in the original show.
Yeah.
But it's been juiced up,
just
juiced
like
the Enterprise was.
Yeah.
Which was, God, these are beautiful. They were very well designed back in the 60s, and all they needed was some detailing to hold up on a movie screen. And
well, I think this opening shot really tells you what kind of visuals we're going to have here.
Yeah, we're going to have not fast ones, but slow, thoughtful visuals, as opposed to Star Wars, which, any respectable Trek fan knows this movie was a direct response to
Paramount's response to Star Wars.
Yeah, as the story goes, the Paramount people were sitting there talking and, looking at how successful Star Wars is, and they said, what do we have? What can we do? And someone said, well, we have Star Trek. And that's
so we've got something with star in the title. Great.
Yeah. And of course, I mean, it's important to note again, I'm just kind of rehashing something that Trek fans already know, but this was originally going to be a TV show. This was going to be Star Trek Phase 2. And that's what it was set to be. It was already in pre-production. They had done camera tests. They had built some sets. But when that conversation with the Paramount heads came about, they decided to discontinue the show and just go ahead and make a movie out of it. And as a result, some things changed from the design of the not just the practical design, but I mean the characters, who was what, and who was playing who and where and so on. A lot of things changed to make it the movie. But originally, it was going to be Star Trek Phase 2. We were going to have a second Star Trek series. Interestingly enough.
I wonder what history would have been like if we'd gotten that instead of the movie.
I don't know. I don't think we would have had the history of Star Trek that we did, honestly. I think Star Trek would have stayed on TV. I think it probably would have continued relatively successfully as that show, and then just went away. I don't. Becoming a movie at this point in time, I think is what did it. It brought it to a broader audience.
They've been playing this movie on TV a lot lately.
Mm.
And whenever it comes on, I watch it. And each time, it gets better. And I really like this movie now. And I think I had the response that a lot of people had when they first watched it, which was that it was boring. And, when I was growing up in the 80s and 90s, I generally did not watch this movie. Just didn't. And we laughed at it, the wormhole sequence, whatever. We still laugh at that now.
You still do.
But not as much. But lately, as I watch it, it's
a good movie.
It's really strong. And it doesn't bore me. It interests me now. I wouldn't call it bad. I wouldn't even call it average. I call it better than average.
No, I certainly agree with you. I do think it's a good movie.
I've even started to like their 70s uniforms.
Well, those are
not that color though.
Yeah, no.
Not that color.
It is definitely a reflection of its time visually, unfortunately. But I agree with you. It's a good movie and it's better than most. What weighs the movie down, and even though I enjoy the movie, the sequences still weigh it down, which are the long glory shots of the Enterprise going through V'ger and so on. Those do go on a little long, but the movie itself, the plot of the movie, I enjoyed.
The glory shot of the Enterprise, the docks,
the beauty pass,
the beauty passes.
Yeah.
That still, it gives me chills watching that.
Oh, that's still good.
That scene,
yes.
Even though it's long, watching Shatner's reactions and Scotty next to him, both experiencing that moment together.
Look at this stuff. This looks good.
This does look pretty good. Some of the shots, the composites, have looked a little shoddy.
Yeah,
I think enhanced by the fact that this is the Blu-ray.
But you know what? Look at that cloud. Look at the V'ger cloud. Mm-hmm. That looks way better than the CG thing we would have gotten today. I'm sorry, but it looks good because that was a physical thing that was photographed. So it looks real.
But what is it exactly? I mean, it always looked like some kind of matte painting or something.
No, that's not a matte painting. You can tell that was some sort of trick used within the camera to capture something, and it's gorgeous. That's one thing that at least the older Trek movies like this have going for them that the more modern day stuff doesn't, and that it's real, it's practical. It's things like, look at Star Trek II and the Mutara Nebula. That's beautiful.
Oh, the Mutara Nebula.
It's gorgeous. No, not a lick of CG in it, and it looks way better. And all they did was stir some shit up in a glass container.
Well, they never really explain what the V'ger cloud is.
I'm sure if we went back to extra features, they would tell us.
Something you were pointing out to me yesterday is that it's nighttime. Yeah. And I never thought about it because I guess I've just been too used to watching the director's cut where they fixed that, right?
Right.
It's clearly day, and then he's going to squint in the light, but yet the stars are.
Yeah, that's the thing. He squints at the sun, and there's no sun.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one of those things. How many people did that have to pass through, And
they didn't notice.
How could no one catch that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, not a sun to be seen.
Do you know what this place is? What is this place?
Some sort of monastery, but if you notice that the Vulcans that he's walking up to, they're standing in between the legs of a statue. That's supposed to be like the statue of Surak.
Oh.
So, this is like a Vulcan monastery or something like that.
This isn't the first time people would have seen Vulcan. Just a mock time? Is that the only one?
Yeah, I think that's the only time in the original series we went to Vulcan. Not counting the animated series.
I'm fully aware of the plot of a mock time. Thank you very much. Okay. This was cool. I mean, this was probably a little bit of a gamble. Opening up on... They actually addressed the fact that the crew had aged. And they moved on with their lives. They'd gone their separate ways. And, look at Spock, who is, with Shatner, the other face of Star Trek.
Right.
The ear guy, that
and they're covering his ears, no less.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you. It was kind of a bit of a gamble. And they could have chosen to continue this movie as though so many years have passed, but they're still on the Enterprise and whatnot. But no, they showed what logically would have happened. where these characters have moved on with their lives and are in different positions, and they've split up.
And that's a theme they ran through the whole series, pretty much. No, 5 it was still there. Yeah, a little less pronounced.
But you know, I like that. You know, we spend the first 20 minutes of this movie just rounding everything back together, and I don't want to say the movie's stronger because of it, but it's definitely interesting. You know, it really is interesting to see what Spock is going through in this movie. He's got his own journey in this movie, and
I think the appreciation comes from the movie's photography and then the music and the little tiny details they put in things. I mean, because the movie's not really thick on story, not
terribly, but they have a lot of character things going. They
do
within that thin plot.
And I've really started to like Persis Kambata. You know,
she's definitely thin. You know, thin charactered.
Yeah.
But see, she's a character that was going to be fleshed out in the show.
Right.
In Phase 2. Decker was going to be in Phase 2 because they didn't expect to get Nimoy back. So they just found a way to work him into it. And of course, everybody knows that the Decker-Ilia relationship morphed into the Riker-Deanna relationship.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh, you didn't know that?
I know it now.
Well, yeah. Roddenberry created the Bible.
$1 million shot right there.
Roddenberry created the Bible for Star Trek Phase 2, and within it was the first officer, the younger first officer under the older captain, which was Kirk, had this past relationship with Lieutenant Ilia, who, even in this movie, I mean, they don't dwell on it, but clearly that she's more emotionally aware. You know, so she's kind of Troy-like, but they had a relationship in the past, and now they're together on this ship.
Okay.
When the show didn't work out, and they kind of, I mean, obviously they hinted the fact that Decker and Ilia have known each other from the past in this movie, but they don't dwell on it too much as far as what that past was and, you know, the history of it. But because it wasn't able to be a series-long thing, Roddenberry made it the Riker-Troy thing. A lot of things from Phase 2 turned into Star Trek The Next Generation.
Roddenberry never throws away any ideas.
No, he does recycle and recycle.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously the plot of this movie is similar to the Changeling. Yeah, it's kind of known for that.
Not the first people to say that.
Well, this movie also was supposed to be essentially the first episode of the series.
Right, it was.
But they just fleshed it out.
It was a two-parter, and then they just fleshed it out.
Which is why there's about 45 minutes of a movie here, and the rest is stuff like this. You know, they fleshed it out only so much. And also,
even if you cut down a lot of the extraneous shots, you know, it would still be feature length. You know.
Yeah, but you could definitely, you know, take some editing scissors to this and make it about an episode length and not miss much at all.
Yeah. You know, they really used the frame
back in these 70s movies.
In this one in particular, they love using this wide frame, and they do a lot of shots, double shots, you know, over people's shoulders, where it's clearly two lenses being used.
Yeah. They do that. I don't think that was necessarily a good idea. That way, you can keep the background and the foreground in focus,
but you can tell that some part of it is out of focus. No, it doesn't.
It looks artificial. It's odd.
See, I think he looks like $1 million.
Shatner?
Yeah.
Oh, definitely. Even though, if you notice, when he beams onto the station here, as soon as he's done materializing, right before he starts walking, he it's hard to explain, but you'll have to rewind and watch it. But he kicks his body into gear. He starts with his stomach. It's okay. It's like he has to throw himself forward to start moving. Once you see that, you'll never not see it. But you know,
that kind of reminds me of this moment in Star Trek Generations you pointed out to me, and I can't help but see it every single time I see Generations. It's during the fight with the Klingons, and they cut to a shot of the bridge, and you see Riker wiggling in his chair, really awkwardly.
Oh, I don't even.
It happens for about a second, and you have to be looking right at him to see it. For some reason, he's wiggling around in his chair, and it makes no sense. Like, why is he doing that? It's like he was space acting for no reason. It was weird. You'll have to see what I mean.
Yeah, I'd have to go back and see it now. Yeah, he does. He does look like $1 million.
See, this kind of scene makes me like fall in love with the Enterprise all over again.
Oh my God!
Especially from Kirk's point of view, where he's like, they gave her back to me. It's a woman. She's mine. I love her.
Well, they've always had that.
The captain's first love is the ship.
Yeah. I mean, even in the series, it was like that. The Enterprise is his mistress. Mm-hmm. Always has been. Always will be. And my God, do the effects in this look good? This is CG can duplicate this somewhat. They can duplicate the angles and all that, but I'm sorry, CG is not there yet. Look at that. That thing looks real. That looks real. That looks like they were actually in space and shot this thing, and it looks gigantic. It's amazing. Even the Next Generation didn't pull it off. Yeah. And they were using a model.
It's enormous, gigantic. They said it was big, but I didn't expect it to be big.
Especially some of the time you can tell that they used a fisheye lens. Yeah. Which definitely helps to give it the scale, but they're not using it in that previous shot, and it looks amazing. It looks amazing. Look at that. Mm-hmm. That's not a fisheye lens, but somehow the thing looks huge. I don't know how they did it. Mm-hmm. How did they make that thing look so big? That's like a 2-foot, 3-foot long model. How did they do it? It looks enormous.
And Scotty is the one person that I would want in that shuttlecraft with him, in that pod. Yeah, because Scotty is the only other crew member that really shows love to the ship the way that Kirk does.
Yeah.
Being an engineer.
Now, I do wonder, especially given that this movie was a direct response to Star Wars, why it was so clearly designed to be different in its pacing. Why was this movie so slow compared to a movie like so? Why would the effects are there? Roddenberry knew that there was plenty of action in the show. Paramount.
That's not Roddenberry's thing, though.
No, it's not. But he doesn't own this. Paramount, I'm sure, had to be thinking, we want us a sci-fi action movie. Why isn't that what happened?
Don't you? Wasn't it Shatner's memoirs where he was? I can't remember what they were called. Where he was talking about the making of this movie and how much Roddenberry had his hands in and was fighting the studio and the director, the other writers to get it his way.
Wow.
But it was like that. It was a battle.
I get until maybe I'm underestimating how much control over this that Roddenberry did have. Mm-hmm. I mean, but he still couldn't have owned it. He didn't own Star Trek. Or maybe he did. I don't know. I mean, no, I take that back. He didn't, because they took it away from him in 2. So clearly the studio could have overridden him, but maybe they were just trusting him to do it. I don't know. I'm just really, really surprised that it was not more of a action adventure story to compete with Star Wars.
And some people say, Trek 2 is action, but it's really not.
It's really not.
There's not a whole lot in there.
No. In a 2-hour movie, I mean, there's like maybe 20 minutes of action.
There's a whole lot of talking in that movie.
Whole lot of it, Yeah.
I mean, the stuff with Khan in space fighting him is pretty cool and all, but it doesn't make up.
It's much more emotionally dramatic. Yeah. But as far as action goes, what bits of action they have are really cool. But it doesn't go on long. See that on the right of the saucer section there? Those windows in the back?
Yeah.
That is that's their 10 forward, although it's not forward, but that's their lounge.
10 rear?
Yeah, that's their 10 rear.
Okay.
That's where Deckard takes Ilia and everything. That's why.
Oh, yeah, right.
I always find it so disappointing when we see 10 forward in TNG and it's this little room, and the Enterprise A, which is smaller, has that huge area. There's your fish islands, man. That thing.
Yeah, I think was it a couple months ago when I borrowed the Blu-ray. When I got to this scene, I was like, I'm not gonna fast forward, and I did. I sat through the whole thing. I was like, yeah, I enjoyed that. I'm glad I watched it.
Yeah. And for the most part, the effects hold up. The only time you run into a problem is when they composite in a guy into a shot or something like
Yeah.
that. And even then, it's not really bad. It's just, you
Sure.
know what it is. But, these ship shots are just stunning. A lot of empty space in the secondary hull there. Look at that. Wow.
Yeah.
Permission to come aboard, sir. Granted, sir.
Kind of reminds me of the black hole. Oh, maybe not.
Now because that shot we just passed had a big fat matte painting in it. Now there is an example of where CG would have come in handy. Yeah, sure.
Here?
Shoot the bottom part with the crew walking around practically, but then add in the rest CG, and it would look more real versus the matte painting. There's an example of where to do it. Don't do it with the cloud. Do something real with the cloud. I like this. Look at that little bit. He's kind of centering himself before he walks in there. I like that. Nice touch.
Did this movie actually get, less than favorable reviews?
Being back in its day, I'm not sure.
Because I actually read
Look at
Ebert's
that. Oh
review.
my God.
What?
There's that guy's wiener.
Yeah, his batch, whatever you want to call it. I read Ebert's review. He gave it a thumbs up. He gave it 3 out of 5. He liked it. So I'm like, that can't be bad. And, usually he's right. Usually I agree with him on movies. And
Yeah.
I appreciate the welcome.
I kind of like the white uniforms. Like the.
I like the
those-
white ones.
The
Yeah.
women are those look Futaro, but the taupe doesn't work.
The taupe. And no, if they were all wearing that white, it might be a little boring, but it looked cooler.
It would look, it would look cool. Even the gray ones aren't too bad. And I like Shatner's, what he's wearing right now.
If he was just the only one wearing that kind of style, that's fine because he's the captain.
Yeah.
That's okay.
He's not even a captain yet. He's an admiral.
Oh, yeah, well, that's why he's wearing that. That makes sense because Decker's wearing all blue.
Yeah.
So look at this.
That's good looking stuff.
This becomes the Enterprise, the Starship hallways for the next like 40 years. Yeah, so
it really does.
in this design of the warp core, this is the warp core that we're used to.
We didn't even really see it in the original series like this. We just saw the horizontal part.
Yeah.
But yeah, this movie really set the standard. Yeah. It really did. And the Enterprise in this, especially in this, it just feels like it has weight. It feels real. There's so much going on.
I think in the commentary they said that those are little people back there.
Yeah, I think they're kids.
Okay.
Yeah, to give it, that shot right there.
Give it a sense of...
It's a descending scale.
Yeah. I've seen this movie plenty of times over the past month, and I kind of have a problem with this scene. Not entirely, just with the way that Decker reacts
to Kirk.
To Kirk, he's a little emotional, more
He's
emotional than
pissed off.
Of course, he's pissed off, but I think he is more open than he should be. I think he's kind of being a little bit of a puss and insubordinate. He should have said yes, sir, okay, but and later in the next scene, maybe alone with Persis Kambata, said that fucking asshole took my ship away from me.
No, I don't know. I think Decker's reaction here is pretty damn appropriate.
See, here I can understand him. Yeah, he's showing a little bit of anger.
But he's reining it in. He's like, may I ask why?
Yeah. But he doesn't rein it in. He lets it out. He says, can I speak freely? Why are you taking it away from me? Kind of.
But he doesn't really say that, though. I think he's... Because, the thing is he knows why Kirk is doing this. It's not really a mystery to him. Yeah, no, sorry.
Like right there. I don't think you're
bit.
sorry. I think that's a little over the line. That's personal.
No, well, yeah, that's because what Kirk is doing is personal. It's not professional. It's Kirk wanting to just do something again. Mm-hmm. And Decker really should have shaved that unibrow. Wow.
Oh, I never really looked at it.
Holy cow.
He still looks good, though.
Yeah, but geez. Get in there with a razor, man. And they reduce it. That's really insulting. They didn't need to reduce him in rank. They just needed to say, you're going to take second seat. We're not going to make you a commander again, just for this mission.
Isn't that what he just said?
No, he said you're reduced to commander.
Oh, okay.
But, you could be a captain. We're not going to take your captaincy away.
Here's a chilling scene.
Yeah, this scene really gets both of us, doesn't it?
Yeah. And, I really like Kirk's reaction here, where he takes the controls. he doesn't want the death to be on her hands. So he says, I'll take the controls. I like that. That's something a captain
Is that
would
really
do.
what it's about?
Well, look,
He just says, give it to me.
Give it to me. I think he realizes that he may lose them. He doesn't want.
No.
I think he doesn't want her to take responsibility for their death.
That would be nice.
I think that's what he was doing.
No. He's a control freak. He just jumps in. He's like, give it to me.
They're forming. I think you're.
Even though he, as is duly pointed out in the movie, he does not understand the systems of this ship. He still takes over. Even though Rand is the transporter chief here,
I don't think so.
She should be more capable to pull this off.
I don't know. I think he felt like it was his responsibility, just like
responsibility, maybe, but I don't think he took it over from her to spare her the
I think
pain.
he did.
No, I don't.
Well,
Kirk doesn't do that. He's a control freak.
Well,
That's part of what makes him such a good captain.
Well, do you think Picard would do that to spare their emotional grief?
I think Picard would leave it in the hands who is best capable to do it. And in this case, no, I don't think he would have jumped in. But Shatner
Do you remember in Booby Trap, Picard took the controls from Crusher?
Okay, yes.
And Geordi said, I can take the controls. Now, who would be the best to do that? Would it be Picard or Geordi or Riker? Because he's the best pilot, isn't he?
But, he in that episode, Picard was really, really making a gamble. And he's like, okay, yes, I will take this over because I'm the one that ordered this and I should assume some physical responsibility for it. I'll pilot it. But this was different. This was a highly technical thing going on. And he should have let the engineer and the transporter chief handle it rather than jump in. How often do you think Admiral Kirk handles a transporter control? Come on. I love all the silver. It's so 70s, and there is his
clean his unibrow.
No, his
batch,
his
junk,
midsection junk.
His
yeah,
Johnson.
Just hanging there for the world to see. I'm sorry, I would have been the actor once I put on that suit that said, "Okay, if no one else is going to say it, I'm going to say it. Someone give me a cup."
See that? Oh yeah. Well, that's the 70s thing right there. I mean, I do enjoy the very clean.
Yeah, it's got nice. It's not
a very clean look of the 70s sci-fi thing. That's kind of neat.
It is. Look at that. There's an Indian in there.
Yeah, I think
I've never seen that before.
There's a variety of different people in there.
But I mean, she was full on wearing Indian wear. I've never noticed that before.
Doesn't that bother you? Like, where does the shot come from?
I know.
It just irritates me.
That's one of those things.
It's like, after the ship is gone, what's photographing it?
I know. That's a well-known.
I know. It just bugs me.
Look at the size of this room. I love it. This movie feels big.
It does.
The ship feels big.
What room is this supposed to be?
There's two Indians there, and they're
two Indians. You say?
Look, do you see him?
Yeah, I see him. Yeah, I see him now. I never saw him before.
Bajorans aren't even allowed to wear their earrings.
Yeah, well.
Granted, that's a different time, but still.
Oh, yeah, I saw the two Indians. I saw the one. There's a woman right in front of him.
There's a man and a woman. That is so strange. I've never seen it.
So what is this room called? Did you tell me?
Well, it's their lounge. Whether it's clearly not 10 forward, but it's their version.
How come there's no chairs?
The people are blocking them. When you see Decker come through, you'll see what they do. It's like a game room and lounge and everything.
Measures, oh my God, over 82 AUs. Do you know how huge that is?
That is gigantic. You know what an AU is,
yeah,
right?
I know. It's the distance from Earth to the sun.
Yes, an astronomical unit.
That's more than a Dyson sphere.
That's gigantic.
Huge. That's 82 Dyson spheres.
Yeah.
That's way too big.
That's way too big.
They should have thought how big they were saying that is.
Yeah, they should have scaled that down a bit.
They could have said 2 AUs, but that doesn't sound big
Even
enough.
2 AUs is huge.
Yeah, still. Yeah.
It's an entire AU in diameter. Now, maybe that. Even that's gigantic.
Yeah. Well, they just picked AU. I guess they didn't think about what it meant. Yeah, like nobody's going to know anyway. Who cares?
Well, we figured it out. Yeah, I remember being in, I think it was an astronomy class or something like that in college.
Well, they love to point out.
And they said what an AU was, and I was like, and I immediately went to this movie. I was like, what?
That
Feature
big?
is that big?
Should have said that out loud. And see if anybody
right.
got it.
Oh, this poor guy. Couldn't he have just gone up?
I would think. He's thinking two-dimensionally.
Very good point. He's intelligent, but not experienced.
Nope.
Boing.
And Dorian.
Yeah, I know. Look at that.
Yeah.
They should have had some of those aliens, more prominent.
I can't do the music. I'm just trying.
Yeah, this score really starts to teeter on 70s stuff, like with that.
Yeah.
But never crosses the line.
Never
it
too much.
Still maintains a classic feel. Thank God. Because
See,
Goldsmith, does tend to follow some of the musical instruments of the time. Like look at Supergirl. What would have been a beautiful score is somewhat tainted by the 80s synthesizer stuff that they do. And thank goodness he didn't go too far with this one.
I had a memory in my mind for the longest time of the music of this movie, and it was that kind of 70s tinge. And it kind of tainted my memory, and I didn't want to go back and listen to it until, you pointed out to me, oh, no, it's not like that at all. It's very beautiful score, and I listened to it, and I was like, wow, you're right. This is a classic score. No wonder why they reused so many of its themes.
She's
Delton, Captain.
Yeah, why would they point that? That's racist.
No reason whatsoever.
Don't point that out.
She's a woman, Captain, and bald, Captain.
Yeah.
I guess all Deltons are bald, and they just didn't want to be surprised, so that's why she said it.
I guess. I mean, the thing with Deltons, what that's supposed to be about, right? Their thing.
Oh, what?
That they're supposed to be very sexual, and that she has her celibacy on record.
So they have to be celibate in order to serve?
I don't know. I don't know if they have to be, but she is.
Yeah.
And she specifically points that out.
She just did right there, didn't she?
Yes, my oath of celibacy is on record, sir.
Yeah. Okay, I didn't know that about Deltons because I
don't know where I picked that up.
I don't know.
But yeah, they're supposed to be. That's why all the guys turn around and are like, hey. It's like a slave girl's walked in.
Yeah, okay.
That kind of
okay.
Deal. See, look at this. We are over 30 minutes, and we are still rounding up the crew and still getting ready to go on the adventure.
Takes a little while.
It does. Not that that's a bad thing.
And they were supposed to do this for part 6, too. Round up the crew again.
Really?
Yeah, I read that somewhere.
I
think it was in Shatner's memoirs again.
A little.
It started off, everyone was separated. I think the only career path that I remember was Uhura. She was like a disc jockey or something like that, a radio host or something like that. Very unfulfilled.
Yeah.
Is that a real beard?
Sure looks like it.
Bones is a thing.
Your idea.
This is a good line coming up.
Look at that thing he's wearing on his chest. I mean, man, could this be any more 70s?
The I need you line. I need you.
Badly.
Yeah, it's good. I like a captain that'll admit that he needs
the people he's familiar with.
Yeah.
And he doesn't give a shit. He's pulling him out of retirement.
Yeah.
He screwed Decker. He blackmailed the other admiral to get on the ship. I mean, he doesn't care. He needs what he wants, to do the job.
Chapel's an MD now.
And really, Kirk. Kirk's kind of a baby when you think about that. He needed everything exactly his way, or it's like he wasn't going to do it.
Isn't that what Scotty says in Relics? Starship captains are like children; they want everything their way. Isn't he?
They want it right now, and they want it their way. Mm. The trick is to give them only what they want, not what they need.
Mm.
Or the other way,
or
what they need, not what they want.
Okay.
Yeah. What do you think of the updating of the bridge?
I like it. It seems it's as clean as the other parts of the ship. Mm-hmm. 70s clean,
But I mean, from the original series.
Well, this is pretty much the design that they've stuck with from the original series to the movies.
Yeah, really. Thank God they didn't mess with what worked.
It changes a little bit. Aesthetically, in terms of color, shape.
Oh, sure. But like you said, the basic design.
But the basic design is the same. Yeah, that's fine.
Same with the Enterprise. It's basically the same design.
Mm-hmm.
It's just juiced up. And what a beautiful job they did. movieizing this ship.
Is that a word? Movieizing?
It is now.
Okay.
It's amazing.
Everything that has is sensational.
I mean, look at that. God. It feels real
Could have done without the guy doing the flip, though.
Everything seems like it belongs there.
That's
on
the
that
fisheye.
ship. Yeah, that's a fisheye. But everything from down to the running lights there. It just feels like it was really physically built, and that everything really has a purpose. That's part of what makes the Enterprise the Enterprise. Versus a lot of other sci-fi ships that we see that, we don't really know what all these little nooks and crannies are. But this ship, everything has a function.
It'll always be. It's always been my favorite starship. The original, the A.
Sure.
The A style Enterprise. Whoop.
Yeah.
But
would that door have smushed him?
Yeah. Well, maybe it's like an elevator.
I don't know, because it
opens
certainly
up again.
didn't stop, and
Okay.
he was really in there.
Superman comes flying through screen.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got a black guy.
Yeah.
What's
Hey,
going on,
Scotty?
here?
The ship's running good. I'm gonna go over here now.
Impulse power at your discretion.
Impulse power, Mr. Sir. Ahead, warp 0.5.
I do like that there's physical controls. That's nice.
Yeah, that you actually see him moving the lever.
Just something, rather
Up.
than just pushing buttons.
Mm-hmm.
I do think they drag all this on a little bit. Warp 0.5.
Yeah,
it goes.
I suppose.
It's like this is daily stuff for them. And
they're in the solar system. They make a big deal out of that. The fact that they're still in the solar system.
And the thing is it's never been referred to before.
Well, they've done it in other. I remember they made a reference to it in Deep Space Nine once, where Dax raises caution to going to warp in a solar system, but they do it, and they don't enter a wormhole or anything like that.
And certainly in the series they've done it before.
Jupiter looks pretty good.
So I don't know. I don't know why they made such a big deal out of it in this. They just needed an action
that they
sequence,
needed to throw in there. They needed some tension because they didn't have any.
Yeah, they really didn't. That's the one of the built-in problems with the movie is that V'ger
is this ominous threat coming towards them.
Yeah, and there's no action that can happen. So I certainly see the need for it, but maybe they could have come up with something different, like probes that surrounded the Voyager cloud that could attack them to give us.
Well, they've got all this, like they have this little romance
we
going
didn't
on.
need this. These looks.
It's silly, but I kind of come to like the little romance between the two of them.
I like the yes.
But anyway, like they have all this inter-drama politics going on the ship, when that should not be what's the main topic of discussion. It's like, well, the planet's in danger. We have to save
very true,
Earth.
very true.
And that's not on the tips of their tongues. And it should be. They should be talking about those other things, but the vital concern is V'ger, and they're not discussing.
Well,
it
this works because Kirk is pushing.
Yeah.
When he doesn't know what he's talking about, and everyone's telling him you can't do this yet.
Yeah.
That works. But like you said, we didn't need, it only took 10 seconds, but we didn't need Ilia to go, science officers report confirmed, sir. And then they give each other looks. We didn't need that. Just didn't need it. Little things like that could have been cut out and help keep the sense of urgency. Warp drive. He's like, don't care. Let's go. He's such a dick. He doesn't listen to anyone.
0.7. 0.8.
I'm glad they kept those uniforms because they're cool looking.
Yeah.
Though they stay pretty much, don't they? I know they were used in 2.
Yeah,
but
we know they're using it. They're used in 3 briefly.
Okay.
I don't think we see them again, though, do we?
Here we go. How long does this sequence last? Let's time it. What are we at? 40 minutes?
Yeah, 40 minutes, pretty much.
Holy shit. We've been going for 40 minutes? All right. This sequence it's goofy. I don't know what they were thinking, having him talk in slow-mo like that and have it not be funny.
Mm-hmm.
It is silly. And it gets sillier as they start to talk
it what are you going to do?
And I still don't get how they get out of it. I mean, why does blowing up the asteroid do anything.
That's what caused the wormhole.
I don't get it.
I don't get it either. They don't really explain it.
So I've never got it.
Somehow that being in their path messed them up.
I've never got it.
But
the
that's-
cows could tape something by now.
But the problem is if that's the reason, because there was the asteroid in front of them, that makes no sense. That's what their deflector dish is there for, to
Right.
push things out of the way.
Yeah.
So this happens all the time, and it moves them out of the way. So why is this a problem just because they're in the, solar system? It doesn't make sense. If they're going to make such a big deal out of it, they really should have figured it out.
Yeah. And whatever they used as the asteroid looks like a piece of poop floating in space. It doesn't really.
Looks like just a rotted potato.
Yeah, it doesn't look like much. It's. So it gets lower.
Yeah.
See, now it's just in silly territory now.
Unfortunately. No. Belay that phaser.
That's a great line. It'll go down in the annals of history.
Sadly.
Well, to us, our annals.
The annals of our history.
Yeah. And they were not on a. This was not on a gimbal set. Obviously,
No.
They were space acting.
Yeah, that's really just the unfortunate thing, is that it makes no sense. Especially given that Star Trek is one of the few examples of sci-fi or any show that has a chronology, has a history that it can refer to, and it works very, very hard to maintain consistency, continuity, and consistency within the universe. So, given that we've had 3 years of this show, we have certain established scientific rules within their world, and this one, unfortunately, just doesn't add up to that. Which many of the people probably going to see this are fully aware of. That's what the deflector dish does. Why would this happen? It's, and if it did happen, it wouldn't have anything to do with the fact that they're in the solar system. I always see Cheka or Sulu shaking his head.
Oh, do you? I wasn't looking over there. I was looking at Persis Kambata.
Yeah.
So that was 3 minutes.
That's
Pretty unnecessary.
way too long.
Yeah. And I thought if there was a way to, do a fan edit and to edit that scene out.
Surely
it's kind of difficult because the scene that happens after this is a result of that
True.
order being countermanded. So it's kind of hard because you want to keep that scene.
Yeah, but surely you could do the scene and just have it last like 30 seconds. Have them go into it, shoot it, and it's over.
Yeah, I guess.
It
but
doesn't
then
need to
just
be this
seemed a little
elongated scene. You can still have...
goofy. I think anything less than a minute would seem a little too short.
Well, maybe we should try it.
Yeah, maybe.
There are casualties. My wits. I think you and I have talked about it, that this movie and 5, but really this movie and 5, which are ironically regarded as the weakest of the original series movies, in my opinion, are the ones that stick the closest to the original series.
Yeah.
Not that 2, 3, and 4, which are fantastic movies, and 6, aren't excellent movies, but these two, 1 and 5, are the most like the show. I mean, look at what Bones is doing right now. That's what he did in the show. Yeah. He stood on the bridge when he had no business being there and offered comments. That's what he did.
And to me, in my mind, this one kind of goes past 5 now in terms of quality.
You could argue that.
I would say it does.
Definitely. They're both high concept movies, and this one offers more as far as little interpersonal beats than 5 does. 5 has some great things going on about it, I think, that are forgotten, but this movie does too.
And you acted properly, of course.
He handles this well, I guess.
Kirk?
Yeah.
Yeah,
a shot
he
to his
realized
ego.
he was wrong.
Yeah. He didn't react too well on the bridge, but
No, yeah.
no one wants to have their orders countermanded, but he handles it well enough.
He does. He realizes he was wrong, but he's still like, look, stop pulling this shit.
No, stop competing with me, Tucker. I don't think the competition is existent as Kirk likes to think it is. I think that Kirk fears that he isn't in control enough. He doesn't have enough power, so he feels it's being pulled away from him, even though Decker was just doing his job.
Yeah, I agree that the conflict is more in Kirk's head. Although Decker is kind of fucking with him a little bit.
Yeah, look at that.
But he's still doing, like right there, he's messing with him. But Decker he's an adult and he's doing his job. You know, if Kirk didn't,
it's a dick measuring contest.
It is, but if Kirk didn't push him, they would grudgingly do their jobs together. But Kirk pushes this because he needs to establish his alpha male status.
Yeah,
you know.
See, I even like this. I mean, it's
the little rugs on the.
No, I meant the scene.
Oh, the scene.
The rugs.
I like that it adds color. I wish they hadn't gone with the damn.
You like the rugs?
You know, they should have made it like, I don't know, dark blue or something.
Oh well, that was the style.
I know it was the color, or even just dark red. That would look awesome.
If I had seen you again.
See, some people don't look good.
But see, this is the Riker-Troy relationship.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. Himzadi.
Once they realized this was not going to be a series,
why
shave her head? You know,
this
is a movie full of dudes.
They wanted something
different. Yeah,
I
get it
to make her stand out.
I know, but for one movie, she was going to be dead by the end of it. Let her have her hair; she's gorgeous.
But no one will ever forget bald woman now.
Well, maybe so. Maybe so. And I this is one of those things that's running throughout at least the first half of the movie. That Kirk is kind of almost being self-destructive in a way here.
This is one of those wide shots I was talking about. They're not using the split frame, but they're using the whole frame.
Yeah, if this were if you were seeing this on a standard television, you'd lose.
Yeah, it'd be pan and scanned.
It would be
or split.
You could see them, but they both have half of their heads cut off.
Yeah.
To come alongside and lock on.
For what purpose?
My security scan shows it has a grade 1 priority, Captain.
I think it holds on Chekhov for a little bit.
A little
here.
too long.
He looks a little confused.
Looks like
some guy.
Where are we going, Captain? Hello. It does hold on a little long.
Yeah.
What was Chekhov saying? Is he talking about the Spock that's approaching?
Yeah. Okay. An unknown ship is approaching. Okay. Yeah, right. Like they're gonna let them just.
Yeah, right.
Come
on.
Unknown.
Yeah.
This
is cool.
They're gonna find out who's on there.
Right there.
Yeah,
that's good.
That is nice. See, that's something that Robert Wise knows how to do.
Yeah.
You know, he's an old school director. He knows how to do that stuff.
Yeah, this could have been sped up a little bit.
It is, but it's still beautiful to watch.
Yeah.
To see it whip around and dock. It's pretty badass. But yes, completely unnecessary.
Oh, it says Surak on it.
Yeah, I've never noticed that before.
Yeah, me neither.
We've never seen it this large
No,
before.
we haven't.
Everything is the Surak.
And it's kind of neat, you know, this concept of a pod that's assisted by this disposable warp drive.
Well, I don't know if it's disposable. I think it goes back, but just to dock, it's separate.
Yeah, that's kind of neat.
See, that was totally unnecessary, but they did it just for visual effect, and it works.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty sweet. You don't see that happening a lot on Star Trek, where they break the plane.
Yeah,
you know.
Like, remember we went nuts when the Enterprise D did like that U-turn.
Yeah.
And what episode was that?
No, it wasn't a U-turn. It was
Galaxy's Child.
What do you call it? It did like a 3-point turn or something. It flipped the bitch.
And it was like, oh my god, we have to rewind that.
I know.
That was
it's
so
like
cool.
how nerdy are we? But you know,
we've never seen it do that.
But we've seen them do it in Star Wars all the time. Things like that. And it's way more impressive. But yet, when finally Star Trek moves their ships around a little bit, we geek out about it.
Yeah.
Because the reality is, yes, the way Star Trek depicts it is more how it would really be. It wouldn't be that dynamic, you know?
No.
But once in a while, they do things like that, and it is interesting.
Spock. His reaction is a little excited.
Well, he didn't expect them.
That's great that everyone comes up to greet him. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Sorry, I wasn't on the show. I didn't recognize you. Oh, okay.
Didn't think you were going to be in this movie.
See, there it is.
Yeah, see, that was totally unnecessary.
See, like the only reason is to have that guy back there in focus, and it's like, who is that guy?
I know,
He's
we
an
don't
extra.
care.
He's an extra.
And it looks weird now.
It does.
So, yeah. And that's all we're looking at. We're looking at the blur between them.
Yeah.
With all due respect, Commander.
If our exec has no objection.
Damn that Nimoy, though.
What about him?
He owns.
Oh, yeah.
He's so badass.
enlist him as science officer. Both.
And you've been demoted again, Decker.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Not his.
In fact, why don't you just
Yeah.
take Spock's shuttle and leave? Because clearly you're not wanted.
Yeah, he's not having a good couple of days. Or day. Is this also the same day? Is it the same day?
Yeah, kind of. Really, they're just getting started here.
It's like, they started off at breakfast, and now it's like, lift just after lunch. Something like that.
With your permission, I will now discuss these fuel equations with the engineer.
I like the fact that they didn't show him as being welcoming, that he's still a cold-hearted son of a bitch.
Well, he's worse than he was before.
He's so much worse. It's, he's completely distant and closed off. I like that. He
Yeah.
doesn't even turn around, look, keeps his back to them. I'm like, yes.
Yeah. That was a pretty bold choice too.
Well, that's to
because
show how much he's changed since he's left.
Oh, I
you know?
agree.
I like that.
I actually wonder because the telling of how the script came to be and everything is kind of muddled because everyone seems to want to get their 2 cents in. Mm-hmm. I wonder how much of that was Nimoy, because Nimoy definitely has his input, or he doesn't show up for the movie. So I wonder if Spock being the way he is in this was Nimoy's influence, or at least large chunks of it.
Well, at this
I know
point,
the script went through a pass through Nimoy.
Oh, did it?
Uh-huh.
Well, because Nimoy is very protective of his characters he plays.
He definitely
of his likeness.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that he would be protective of his character, and I don't think Spock would do that. I don't think Spock would.
Well,
do
he
this.
is, and he's obviously a very talented filmmaker and creative person. They somewhere in the features and the documentaries of this, there's a little bit.
So they're just looking at a bunch of swirls.
Yeah,
Really?
where they the scene where Spock has gone out to V'ger and he got zapped and knocked out.
Yeah.
When he wakes up in the bed, they actually showed the script in one of its versions, and it shows Spock wakes up and Shatner looks at him and says, and it shows the dialogue, and it says, "A tear for us," and it was showing Nimoy's pass at the script, and he redlined where it said "a tear."
Oh.
And just kept the line "for us," because he's smart like that. We don't need him to say a tear. He can see the tear. We can see it. That was just him as an intelligent, creative person saying, it's much more effective. Just say "for us." Just a little example that he is quite talented and knows what doesn't need to be said. Point being is that a lot of what's going on with Spock is nonverbal, and I like that.
You are correct. Well,
Was the Kolinar mentioned in the original series? It was, wasn't it?
I don't think so.
Well, because he just be refreshing the information for the new audience. But I'm not sure.
I don't want to say with 100% certainty, but I don't think so. Sit down. Did they really need to have the open V-neck stuff, where they're all showing their 70s hair?
70s chest hair.
Did we need that?
Well, at the time it was...
Spock's outfit looks professional. Kirk's looks like he's just lounging around.
It looks like he's going to be going to the pool or something.
Yeah,
hair wasn't a big deal back then.
that's not the point. It's not professional.
Yeah, I guess. Well, they hadn't gotten...
Look at McCoy, for God's sake.
I know. They hadn't gotten, nautical yet,
How do none of them wear T-shirts anymore? They all just show that chest hair. I know that was a 70s thing, but still.
then my
This was an interesting touch. This casting doubt on Spock right here.
Yeah. Which actually holds for a little while.
Yeah.
Any thought, Pat?
Even to the point where McCoy questions it.
Yeah.
I like that. See, that's what I mean. I really think a lot of this came... I'm totally guessing here. But that a lot of this stuff came from the fact that this was going to be a series pilot script. And the plot really wasn't the major issue. The major issue was the character stuff. Because that's intended to take us through, at least a season. So they had to build up a lot of character issues to work through. Which, as you and I have already discussed, are part of what makes this movie interesting. Are the character stuff. Is the character stuff. Is the character stuff.
Visual contact, 3.7 minutes.
It does take them a while to get there, doesn't it?
Yeah, they're taking their sweet time.
See, this they kept, you know.
Dun, 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 dun.
You know, this kind of styling they kept, the red and the red alert graphic on the screen.
Mm-hmm.
They kept that, which was good. Oh, finally, they're here. Okay, they are here.
We're here.
We're going to see lots of these kind of shots of people looking at things. I like alert. It says alert there. It's like, really?
Yeah.
Thanks.
Could be misinterpreted as hostility.
Intruder scans emanating from the exact
Now
center.
it's starting to pick up a little bit, at least by Star Trek standards.
Tad. Yeah.
Are we about at this? No.
Where?
Is this where Ilia gets scanned?
Well, they have to get into the cloud first.
Okay.
And they get shot at. You know, then they send the message that you got a little bit of time.
Screens and shields.
You know, I wonder if Walter Koenig got a little pissed off because he should be sitting up there next to Sulu, but he's kind of off to the side.
Yeah.
I wonder if that ticked him off in favor of this new girl.
Well,
you know.
Yeah, things have changed. I mean,
although he has been elevated because now he's security, you know, which he does at least through 3. I don't think we really see him do much security stuff beyond that, but yeah, he's the security.
Well, even in part 2, when he comes back, they put him back at the weapons thing after they get the worm out of his ear.
He's like the Worf. He does the weapons and security.
5 minutes to cloud boundary.
Navigator, lay in a conic section flight path to the cloud center. Bring us parallel to whatever we find on there. Mr. Sulu, tactical plot on viewer.
Tactical on viewers.
It's big.
All it is a cloud. They, you know, is it really that impressive for them to be this doe-eyed?
No, it's not. I mean, they see stuff in space all the time.
Yeah, exactly. They've seen more interesting things. 12 power energy. What does that mean?
It means it's regular energy times 12.
They need to they need to give us some perspective.
Or to the power of 12, yes. Yeah, that's true.
Spock, tell me.
You know, something they do not explain is why is Spock so personally affected by this? He's only half Vulcan. You know, full Vulcans are far more telepathic than him. You know, why is he... It's like it's talking to him directly. What? They don't explain this.
Well, they don't have betazoids yet, so...
But still, why him? You know, why is he so affected like this?
Well, I mean, I can only justify it being that he's the only one who is not telepathic, but empathic. Not empathic. Yeah, what word am I looking for?
Empathic.
Well, empathic is
emotions.
Troy.
Yeah.
So he's more. I wouldn't say he reads minds, but he definitely has that extra sensory perception that humans don't have. That's why he's picking this up. That's the only way I could justify it. You know, for the longest time growing up, I always thought that this was like some kind of like, this first shot at them was like some kind of probe or something like that. And it wasn't their shields that were, they were enhanced shields and screens that were saving them. I thought it was just like a probe of some kind. But now I'm like, oh, well, that's wrong. So, oops. Show you how uninvolved I was when watching this when I was younger.
The new screen's held.
New screen's held.
Cannot hold full power on force field. Deflector power is down 70%.
I almost want to hear Takei go, you know, oh my.
Oh, don't do that. It's so overdone. Sheesh.
The intruder has been attempting to communicate.
The intruder has been attempting to communicate, but we're too dumb to understand, Captain.
Yeah.
Basically is what he's saying.
Our computers transmit lingua code at their frequency and rate of speed.
Frequency and rate of speed. In other words, just like the
So
Changeling.
Decker really
just
has
like
nothing,
Nomad.
So Decker really has nothing to do.
He's literally doing nothing.
He's just floating around.
He is.
Basically.
He is. Once Spock got there, he genuinely had no purpose on this ship whatsoever.
Spock, transmit now.
Here it comes.
They're shining a flashlight at us, Captain.
shields cannot handle another attack.
Now I'm hearing Willy Wonka. Here it comes.
Is that when they're going through the trippy
Going through the
tunnel
glass.
thingy?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Spock.
15 seconds.
You know, Spock's not just farting around. He knows what he's doing.
10 seconds.
See, here he's actually...
Although there he was.
Here he was waiting
He
a
was
second.
just sitting there.
He's
for
like, I
some-
want him to ask him one more time.
But he
Ask me
was
one more
working,
time.
pretty consistently.
Yeah, it was. See, Decker could be sitting where that dude on the left is sitting.
Yeah, I mean, they really should have thought that through just a little more. Because, why is Decker there at all?
Mm-hmm.
In the design of the script, it makes it interesting that Kirk kicked someone out of the captain's seat, but really after the initial argument with the wormhole, Decker serves virtually no purpose in this movie. Forget the fact of what he does on the ship, but just within the movie, he's just there.
Yeah, if he just would have been relieved and then disappeared. And
that wormhole scene could have been accomplished with someone else.
Yeah.
20 hours away from Earth.
Whoever the...
I mean, the real interesting part of that discussion happened afterwards when he left.
Yeah.
With McCoy.
Yeah.
And basically the same discussion could have happened because Decker just... Why is he here?
Yeah, we wouldn't have had the romance and
but
someone
it
else
went nowhere anyway.
Yeah.
Other than the fact that he teleported himself
Well,
at the end with her. But even then, we don't care.
Well, they need someone to bond with.
I get it, but
end.
it's
Makes
a very
sense.
weak reason to have Decker just hang around.
Well, yeah.
They
That's
should have
admitted.
written their way around it, and that way that would have given more focus to the real cast.
Yeah, they could have just zipped it up. The shirt. Sorry.
Yeah,
let's
right?
Change topics. Yeah, they could have just zipped it up. And
Look at that. His headrest goes up. I like that.
Oh, I never noticed that.
That's their battle mode. Just before they went into the wormhole, Sulu's and Ilia's went up
Oh, I didn't notice.
because they were going to be knocked around.
Oh, okay.
Even though it's totally useless.
Thought the chair just got turned on. Never mind. See, I mean, a lot of this is neat looking, but it doesn't really mean anything. So, them just looking at it in amazement.
Yeah. The only thing that makes it tolerable is the score.
Is the score,
which
yeah.
is good.
Other than that, I mean, these shots are a little extraneous and much, but when they show the ship in terms of scale flying through it, that looks kind of cool.
Yeah, but they
the
could
ship,
have accomplished that with a few shots.
yeah, because the Enterprise is dwarfed by this thing.
Yeah.
And that looks kind of neat. But
yeah, but that's all we needed was that shot.
all this stuff is like, the what is it, the star tunnel, what's it called, Stargate sequence in 2001, where it's just like, yeah, slit scanning is cool, but I don't want to watch 20 minutes of it. Jesus Christ. Can you fast forward past this crap? It's like, I get it. I mean, they all make good kind of wow faces, I guess, but
yeah, it goes on way too
see,
long.
it doesn't mean anything. We don't know what it is, so.
And everyone gets their close up.
Oh, yeah,
it's too much.
I mean, if you fast forward, it would look like the Stargate, basically.
Yeah, kind of. Who's going to get their close up next? Who's next? I think they've nailed everyone.
Well, we just need that close up from Sunset Boulevard, and then we're done.
Oh yeah, you see what I mean? Oh my God, we don't need this at all. I wonder if the editor sat there and said, Bob, do we need this? I know you paid for the effects, but do we really, really need this? I mean, surely a good editor would have pointed that out, that this is dragging.
Yeah, but I think it's, like you said, the score. I don't think that...
they didn't have the score at the time.
Oh, they
were
didn't?
editing it.
No? Oh, okay.
No, the score comes later.
And without the score, it must have been hard to watch this scene. And I hope the score is really good, because this scene's going to be incredibly boring without it.
My God.
Patterns unrecognizable.
Yeah, Decker really has no place to sit. It's kind of...
And he doesn't really offer anything. I mean, it's Spock. Are you going to one-up Spock? No.
Yeah.
And he can't out Captain Kirk, so it's just pointless for his character to be here. If anything, had they chosen to just have the Decker character be written out of the movie after Kirk replaces him, they could have gone into the wormhole scene. If they still wanted to have that scene, they could have gone into the wormhole scene. And without Decker, without that character to, correct the problem, they could have almost been destroyed like they almost were. And afterwards, Bones, could have said, if you hadn't let go of your first the captain, you would have had someone here that had the technical know-how of this new ship to handle the situation, but your ego got in the way. So you couldn't even have him on the ship. Mm-hmm. And then miraculously Spock shows up to fill the gap.
Yeah.
But it could have been the same problem could have happened, without having this extraneous character, which only at this point serves a purpose at the end. And although he does show Ilia around, but that's unfortunately one of those things to where we're not invested in Ilia or Decker. It really should have been Kirk showing her around. I'm surprised Shatner even stood for this, because that's screen time away from Shatner. In the show, normally that's something Kirk would do. He would take the pretty girl around. You know what I mean?
That's a good point.
Right?
I hadn't thought about that.
So that I don't know. I don't know what happened in the writing stage to where that very obvious issue was not corrected.
Any attempt to transmit out of the cloud is being reflected back.
Other than the fact that they were maybe still holding on to the idea that this might turn into a show after this movie. But they got rid of the two new characters anyway. So why are they even there? The Decker and Ilia.
I don't know. I never heard anything about them keeping it.
No, I did. I don't know. I'm just I'm trying to think of some reason
that was
as
still
to
in
why,
their mind as a possibility. I don't know.
As to why Decker is even in the movie at this point.
Mr. Sulu, bring us into a parallel course. Over the Ilia at 500 meters.
500 meters?
I want a bridge. Yeah. I want my own bridge. If I had the money, I would have a bridge just like this built, and it would just be my playroom. I would have, some sort of flight simulator game built in so I could fly it from the from the navigation station, and just that's totally what I would do. Now, in the director's cut, they help to give you a better sense of what the actual V'ger ship is as opposed to the cloud.
Yeah,
but in this version, you really have no idea what this thing looks like.
No.
What do you think of that? Do you think that hurts it or helps it?
I mean, the director's cut was done so long after the fact.
Yeah.
I really don't think it matters.
But look, I mean, you get a sense of the shape right there. You see the body, but you really ultimately have no...
You see some shapes in here, but there's nothing that says what anything is.
Oh,
and
no.
It was always a mystery to me.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, as a kid, like, what is this thing?
Now we're in the final countdown time.
That's what I was about to say. It looks like the time warp tunnel in the final countdown. Where's the Nimitz?
Yeah, it could be. It's probably in there.
Yeah, it could be the same thing. They're just reusing the effect.
Hell yeah, it was V'ger that took the Nimitz.
That's why. Yeah, that's what it was. But like all this stuff, they don't say we don't know what it is. It's just a hulk of stuff floating around.
Look how long this shot is going on.
It's still going. I
this
know.
is ridiculous.
Yeah,
absolutely ridiculous. This is. Someone should have spoken up. I mean, this is especially coming off of Star Wars. How could they think that people are going to want to sit through something slow?
Mm-hmm. Well, Robert Wise was an old school director,
but
and he didn't have the same style.
No,
as
I disagree with that. Was it Robert Wise? Because look at The Day the Earth Stood Still. That movie's fast. Well, they don't dwell on anything in that movie too much. It's beat to beat to beat.
Yeah, well, that's
now granted that was not intended to be a sci-fi.
It's also
spectacle.
a different kind of movie.
Yes, and it was 20 years earlier. I know, but
I mean, he grew up with longer shots,
and I'm not saying that plays a factor. But
that was his thing.
This is like 2001. This is long shots. Mm-hmm. And after Star Wars, that's the. I know I keep coming back to that, but I really think that's the key factor. After Star Wars, why would they think that the audience wants this? I'm not even saying keep the plot of the movie if you want, but why these long drawn out shots? other than it's just fan wank for the special effects guys. I don't know.
Well, this kind of stuff I wouldn't even call interesting. It could be anything.
Yeah.
It's unexplained. It's like it's just
is.
a bunch of stuff. I'm like, okay, what is it? I'm like, is this all of V'ger? Is V'ger all one entity? I mean, what is it? They don't say.
They never do.
It's
not really.
No.
Not definitively.
No. I mean, they don't really explain a lot of the things in Tron either. But then again, they don't linger on shots in Tron, so I don't really have to think about it for too long. I've already moved on. So, and maybe if they held on the grid bugs for 45 seconds. I'd really have a lot in my mind about what the fuck grid bugs are.
Right.
But thankfully it only lasts 5 seconds, so it's not really worth thinking about.
Oh my Lord.
It is long.
God, just cut it. This is
Well,
totally
see,
unnecessary.
What's hurting us right now is there's no music.
But even
we
without,
can't hear
even with
anything.
music though, it's just too damn long, and it doesn't mean anything. You know, the glory pass of the Enterprise goes on for a while, but it means something.
Mm-hmm.
This means, and you know what you're looking at. This is neither, other than shots like that, which are cool, where you see it scale. But other than that, we don't need the slow.
No,
the POVs. We just don't need it.
Oh, side shot instead of a front angle. That was different. I mean, what are these things? Giant eggs? I mean, they don't really say.
Who knows?
It looks like they're pulsating a little bit. Or that could just be
flickering at
my mind going by. I don't know. So I think they're getting close to whatever it is they're getting to. See, this kind of stuff, if they just would have, I'm sure it's been done, fan edits in the past. I'm sure they've taken shots at this. And if you're not familiar with fan edits, just go to fanedit.org and you'll see what we're talking about. Justin loves to do them. I've done a couple with him. But fan editors would chop this up and chop out all this extraneous stuff. I mean, you can keep those shots where they're showing the scale, and that's fine. And the scene would be 30 seconds long. That's all it would need to be. I think this is when, okay, Justin left the room. He left the studio. He was parched, so he's gonna miss. He might miss Ilia being killed, which was always a death that always gave me chills. The way she's basically murdered by V'ger, the way she's just kind of zapped out of existence, and her tool that she's holding, I don't know if it's a communicator or something or other, just falls to the ground, hits the chair, falls to the ground, and it's in the snap of a second, and it's all this noise to complete silence, and then the device hits the ground and it's like she's gone. I'm like, that sucks to go out like that. I mean, we already had Sonak go out in a transporter accident. People are just getting killed horribly in this movie just to prove a point, to make it dramatic. It sucks.
And this scene, as much of a bummer as it is to see Ilia go out this way, the sound is so goddamn annoying, and that's what it's supposed to be. It's supposed to get your attention and be disruptive to your senses. I get that.
The sound is one thing that I was mentioning while you were away. Is it's one of the things that affects me about her death, the fact that she is zapped out of existence basically, and it goes from incredibly loud, dead silent.
Yeah, and it's effective in that sense.
Yeah, and it always it gets to me. It really does. I hate.
But I think there's some bad sounds. Ooh, 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 ooh. It's like weird sounds. It wasn't Nimoy. It was a strange sound.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. See, this day must have sucked on set, because you're shining a bright light at him the whole time.
Yeah.
See, it looked like it was about to go for Decker, and then it changed its mind. It's like, no, I want her instead.
Yeah.
It's the bald woman over there.
Could have done without her acting here. It's kind of bad.
Well, she's a model, isn't she?
I think she
she was.
Yeah, I was never clear on what happened to her. I mean, we all know she died young, but
the sound effect of that thing hitting the ground.
Yeah.
I can't forget it. Chilling.
I'm suddenly very aware of the lighting. And, I mean, look at their shadows. They shouldn't have shadows on them like that. That's very studio lighting,
Well, it should be overhead. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. I mean, they don't really do that in the the next 3 or 4.
Yeah, the lighting's obviously coming from off screen.
Yeah.
I mean, they have lighting, inset lighting like that, like by the turbo lift. But
I don't know. Maybe it's just this shot because I haven't really been aware of it before. It felt more natural. That particular shot just seemed
like
very...
that. Negative control at home. We can't fucking steer, Captain. Oh, shit. Yeah.
So, Sulu, do something.
Sulu, stop taking close-ups away from me. God damn it.
Captain, we've been seized by a tractor beam.
Get someone up here to take the navigator station.
Seized by a tractor beam. Hey. Chief DeFalco. Who's that?
Yeah, who's Chief DeFalco?
And why isn't he calling Scotty right there? He's talking to Scotty.
Yeah.
I guess that's DeFalco next to him.
She'll burn up.
Engineering, relay that order. Disengage all main drive systems.
Is that the thing that looks like a vagina?
No, that comes up later.
Okay.
That's the thing that Spock goes into.
Yeah. Okay. See, he's just looking over Nimoy's shoulder.
Yeah, that's DeFalco, Chief DeFalco.
Oh, that's DeFalco?
Maybe not. Maybe they didn't mean like chief engineer.
Oh, they were just calling.
She's just like Chief O'Brien.
Oh yeah, it's like the dead woman's chair.
Chief. They need to call her up. There was no one else that could just take over for.
He could have.
He could have for shit. He could have actually done something.
It's like I got something. Oh, there's a free chair.
All right, thank God I get to sit down. Don't call DeFalco. Belay that order.
Yeah, that's right. He would have said, DeFalco, belay that. That's what he would have said.
I know that they have so many character subplots. Decker looking for a chair would have been interesting.
That would have been the C plot. That's his denouement where he finally sits down.
Oh, my dogs are barking.
Captain.
And really, why is Bones up there?
Well, because they're friends.
I mean, I know this is what he did in the series. I'm fully aware of that. But
well, they're friends. That makes sense.
Now they got 2 guys up there that don't have somewhere to sit down.
Why are you opposed to trying?
At least they figured it out on the D that they came up with extra chairs next to Riker and Troy for the guest.
Why did he suddenly look... Oh, that's because they're worrying about Spock. That's right. I forgot. It's like, why did he look so pissed? Is that Spock subplot coming back where they can't trust him or not?
Right. Yeah, his actions are a little iffy.
Yeah, suspicious. They think he's willing to risk the ship, right? Isn't that what it is?
They're just not sure. Yeah, maybe. They're not sure if he's putting his own interests first.
Right, ahead of the ship.
Yeah.
That looks good.
Yeah.
That looks like Close Encounters type.
It kind of does.
Stuff.
But still, got it. Cut.
Yeah, sure.
I know there's many different edits of this, fan edits of this movie.
It's funny. I was talking about fan edits when you were gone.
Oh. Yeah.
They could have done that outside.
Deckard looks almost a little cross-eyed, doesn't he?
I hadn't really looked.
Take a look at him again.
Okay.
Insatiable curiosity.
Guys, this really isn't that interesting. Look at your stations.
Captain, photic sonar readings indicate the aperture.
It's a sad. It does date it a little bit, the old technology on the screens, but
well, for the most part, it holds up though. Like the computer technology within the ship and everything.
I mean, that's all through every Star Trek movie. So.
Oh well, sure, but one of the reasons why Trek is able to date a little better is that, unlike a movie that takes place in the 70s or in the 80s or whatever, where you see an actual the actual box of the computer, all you see on the Enterprise are the screens. So it's not that bad.
Yeah, sure.
That helps keep it Futuro.
Vessel is floating free, no forward momentum.
Viewer ahead. Viewer ahead, sir.
I could be wrong, but I think that Chief DeFalco girl, I think that's Shatner's wife at the time.
Really?
I could be way off on that.
She's got a Peter Pan pose.
I'm kind of thinking about that.
She's pretty. But
I seem to remember there was a reason why she was focused on a little bit.
Let's take a look.
I don't recall. I'll have to look
I don't
that
know
up.
where I heard that or if I'm remembering it right at all, but I seem to recall
Didn't
that.
his wife, one of his wives, die in a swimming
pool? Yeah, but I don't know if this one. I don't if that's one of them at all. I don't know. There's the vagina.
That's the vagina?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
It's closing up.
it's closing up. She's frigid. Damn it. Kirk, better work some magic on her. Don't put those thrusters at station keeping. Thrust ahead. She'll loosen up.
All our scans are being reflected back. Sensors are useless.
There's a lot of places where the sensors are useless. It's
Yeah, they
unfortunate.
never work when they need them to.
No.
The Enterprise is one of the most convenient plot devices. Shields never work when it's...
I believe the closed orifice. They really should have changed that line of dialogue. Orifice?
Orifice.
It's like the butthole is closed. Sorry.
Deck 5, Captain. Officers' quarters.
Have security meet me at
Yep.
Deck 5, main elevator. Spock. Mr. Decker, you have the com.
Whatever it is,
Hold position.
white hot.
You know, given that they had to have kind of assumed that this may be the only movie they make, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's no way they could have imagined what it was going to become.
Mm-hmm.
You know, this was, I mean, you have to remember, this was still at the beginning. you
Oh,
know?
sure. There was a definite risk they were taking. They didn't know if they were going to make another one.
Well, I'm just wondering, you know, given that very real possibility that this was going to be their one and only movie, I wonder why they did not choose to have this not be Ilia and have it be one of the main cast. You know, just kill them off. You know, do something. That way we have some connection to Ilia, to what's going on.
Maybe if it hadn't grown out of a possible TV show,
Maybe.
maybe it would have been something like
Maybe.
that.
What's going on? Tricorder.
She's got great legs.
Yeah. Wow. She is a model, though.
Yeah.
Makes sense. And she pulls off bald well. Not many,
She does. Not many can.
Not many can. No.
Is V'ger the name of the captain of the alien vessel? Jim.
But yeah, you know, I mean, think about Serenity, the movie.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they didn't know if that was going to be the only movie they make, but they were kind of working on the assumption that it was.
Mm-hmm.
And they killed off Wash.
Yeah.
That was a damn dramatic scene in that movie. They figured, why not? Throw caution in the wind. They actually, and they killed off Book, too, Reverend Book.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, they
did.
killed off two people. You know, they could have done the same thing in this movie, and it would have been really, really dramatic.
Why does V'ger travel to the
Now,
third?
granted, it would have had to have been, you know, Uhura or someone in this position, but I don't know. Maybe she just didn't have the chops to do it. It's hard to say.
What do you think of the name V'ger? Do you think that's a little silly, the fact that Voyager 6 becomes V'ger because it's covered with dust? Dirt.
I don't know.
It seems like something that would be cool in like a short story,
Yeah.
you know, as a surprise at the end of a 20-page short story.
Right, right.
Like, oh, V'ger's Voyager. That's kind of neat. In a feature-length film, it's kind of thin and silly.
Well, it was supposed to be a 45-minute episode.
Yeah, on the TV screen, you could probably forgive this thing. People are more forgiving of television.
Yeah, because it's not, the plot is just the plot that week. The characters are what continue us through. So yeah, it would have been more forgivable.
Sure. I think we talked about that when we did Generations.
Well, how's that?
That we're just not as forgiving because
Because it's a
it
movie.
was a feature-length film and
Yeah,
it was a TV plot. The same with Insurrection, you know? When we did that, we really talked about that during Insurrection, the fact that it was a TV plot as a movie, and it doesn't work.
Sensors
Nice bio bed.
Yeah, it is nice.
and molecule-sized multiprocessor chips. And take a
That's
look at this.
pretty much the same set where Scotty's nephew died, isn't it? In
Is it?
2.
Is it?
Yeah, like this shot. Like that's where they talk about They talk about Khan a little bit, but this is where.
Well, this is sick bay. I mean, it's reused.
Well, it's just that set, like not like this shot I don't recognize, but the shot where we're seeing Kirk and McCoy. That's definitely that same set.
Gentlemen.
I mean, if they didn't have this connection, would this all feel kind of flat? You know, because we wouldn't have this.
You mean Decker and Ilia?
Yeah, if there was no connection between the two of them, you know, what it wouldn't feel as intriguing, or what? The fact that she's making a connection with a human. You know, she's not completely gone, but she is. Would it not be as interesting? I mean, what do you think?
Well, am I understanding you right? Are you asking if...
You know, it was just, say it wasn't Persis Kambata. Say it was just another actress.
Like a droid that just came onto the ship?
Well, no, I mean, they could have had a character, you know, like Ilia, but there was no romance. She was just a secondary character.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
She was taken over.
Well, no, obviously her connection to Decker is what's bringing a little weight to those scenes. And I'm not saying their relationship in the movie is completely pointless. Obviously, in this aspect of the story, this part of the story, it has, God damn it, you know, it like you were saying, it adds weight to that scene. However, we as an audience, at least me, I'm not personally involved with Decker or Ilia. I recognize that those characters have a history, so her recognizing him is, you know, all that. But I just think they should have found a way to make it.
Don't you know a jailbreak when you see one? Sorry, I had to say it before it left the screen. So, yeah, sorry.
No, it's fine.
Okay.
Captain's log, stardate 7414.1. Our best estimates place us.
Where's Richard Dreyfuss?
Too static.
Oh, it is static. It's almost like a freeze frame.
Yeah.
But see, now this is what I was talking about, where he's going to show her around the game room and this and that.
Oh yeah. So there was chairs in there. They were just blocking the shots. They kept that theme.
Where is Archer's ship?
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah, right.
He's a peeping Tom.
Where'd that come from?
Back to the Future.
I know, but where'd it come from?
I don't know. It's just because he's watching the screen.
Okay. Yeah. Well, there's not really chairs. More like
those little square things. Those are their chairs.
Is this a game he's showing her?
Yeah.
The words recreation.
I never was really a fan of those security outfits in the background.
They hold on until 3.
Yeah, that's in 3. Yeah.
They are kind of goofy looking. I wonder if they watch movies up there on that big screen.
They don't have movies in the 23rd century.
They still have them in databases.
Well, yeah, but at Archer's time, they still watched movies. They had movie night on the ship.
Yeah. That's something that always drives me nuts.
What?
When you have a movie or TV show that takes place in the future, right?
Yeah.
Whenever those characters watch a movie or listen to music, it's always something from way, way in the past. It like on Enterprise, they always watch movies. 50s movies.
Yeah, they're not watching like Lethal Weapon or anything like
that.
Yeah,
why not?
Yeah.
that's crap. Watch something watch The Godfather. You
never hear like Picard or Data. They listen to Mozart. Or
I know.
Beethoven.
Yeah, come on. There's
don't
more
they have
than
Paul
just
Abdul
that.
in their database too?
Yeah, I'm not saying it has to be the pop thing of the day, but it doesn't always have to be classical.
Yeah,
that's
true.
There is more out there.
Yeah, I guess. But it would be weird.
At least Riker listened to jazz. At least there's that.
It would be weird if suddenly someone was listening to Michael Jackson.
Well, yeah, but obviously you don't do that. But you do something else.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I think we're... Oh, wait, no.
Where? What?
Did they fixed it. I know in the special edition, off to the side of Decker's face, that was supposed to be like a view screen. But in the director's cut, it was just or in the theatrical cut, it was just a blue screen. But I think they blacked it out for this because it looked painfully obvious. But that's what it was. Let me see if they show it again.
If I can help you to revive those patterns, you could understand.
Because for whatever reason, they released this movie without some of the effects fully put in. There's the famous shot that got into the TV version.
Which shot?
Where Kirk leaves, when he leaves to go after Spock.
Yeah.
It was the very, very famous. They built like probably a 20 by 20 section of the underbelly of the saucer for him to come out of.
Yeah.
And the intention was to have like a matte painting fill in the rest. But they didn't bother because it didn't make it into the movie. But they put it in into the TV cut anyway. So you see Shatner leaving the ship, and you see the rafters and the beams holding that section of the saucer in place.
Oh, I don't recall.
It was so weird.
I wonder if that's on YouTube.
Oh yeah, sure. You could find it totally easy. I'm pretty sure it's on the extras of the regular DVD as well. I don't think they made it to the Blu-ray, but yeah. But that screen that I was talking about where Decker was in front of it, it was just a blue screen because they were going to comp the shot in later, but they never did. Oh. But they just let it go because it still looked future-y blue. You didn't really know.
Yeah.
But they clearly blacked it out for this. As opposed to the director's cut where they added in like the V'ger imagery.
Mm-hmm.
See, now this is I didn't need this. Because I don't care about her.
Not even a little?
Not really, to be perfectly honest with you. I don't really care if she's... And I'm so tired of the Star Trek thing of reclaiming your humanity. I am so tired of it.
Well,
granted, it wasn't a thing here.
No, it wasn't.
But now when you watch it, if you're a Trek fan, it's just, here's another one. Here's their 7 of 9, reclaiming their humanity. So tired of it. It gets so boring.
Well, at least they weren't guilty of doing that on a week-to-week basis.
Well, maybe not.
Well, they did. Well, Data did that kind of.
Yeah.
A little too much.
But still, I'm not connected to her. Like we see her neck thing light up more, and it started kind of freaking out to like.
Did it?
Yeah, you didn't notice?
I just thought it was a stable light.
No, it started going bam, 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 and she kind of like. Became a little more robotic. Spock.
Yeah.
Spock's a pain in the ass. Does he ever follow orders? Think about the original series. Mm-hmm. He stole the Enterprise to go take Pike back to the to the planet.
Yep.
In Star Trek 1 here, he just takes off, just leaves. Just does whatever the hell he wants to. Let's see, what does he do in 2? Well, let's skip that. In 6, he arranges the accord between the Klingons and the Federation of his own accord.
Well, I don't think that...
He just decides, well, we're going to do this. And then, let's see, what else does he do?
I wouldn't say...
In 2, although it helped everybody, he's still just of his own volition.
But he wasn't going against orders.
Not so much going against orders, but he does what he
his
pleases
own thing.
When he feels it's necessary.
Yeah, right.
And he lets everyone catch up. That's what he's doing here. That's what he does in 6. In 2, he sacrifices himself for the ship, but he still just goes and does it. He doesn't even tell anyone. Let's see. Think about 3. Well, he's kind of not really there in 3. But even in 4, look at 4. He goes and dives in and talks to the whales. He just does what he wants to do. In 5, he waits quite a bit later before he tells anybody that Sybok is connected. Yeah. And he's kind of... most of it's in his head. Spock is a pain in the ass if you really think about it.
Well, that's why they complement each other so well.
Well, that's what Kirk does. He just does what he pleases. This is a ship full of mutineers. Really. Here he goes. He's about to get laid. This is like, what, the second beat of action in the whole movie?
Yeah.
Maybe
What's the
third?
first beat with the Klingons? Or is that the wormhole?
No, yeah, the Klingons definitely an action beat. Then you get the wormhole scene, and then this. I guess this is kind of...
I suppose. Yeah. I wouldn't call, when the other space station is getting destroyed by V'ger an action beat. I'd call it a dramatic beat.
Yeah, it's not an action beat.
But I would call the stuff with the Klingons action because they kind of fought back. So that has some action in it. See, where is he now? I can't. Doesn't he say?
Doesn't he say
it was like a physical representation of something?
It's like V'ger's memory core.
Oh yeah, right.
Yeah,
that's right.
Because he's passing planets and people, Ilia at some point. Why did he ditch that? How did he expect to get back?
It's out of fuel.
What the hell was he think? Why? That didn't last very long.
Oh, just had to give him a boost.
But geez.
He won't slow down.
But now he's getting all this info with no way to give it back to the crew.
Yeah.
How does he expect to get back? And we all know about the Miss Piggy in here.
I don't.
Yeah. Look towards the bottom of the frame. At some point, you will see very clearly a Miss Piggy toy. I'll see if...
Why?
It's just one of those things the effects people did. They just threw it in for giggles.
Coming up soon, I'm taking it?
Eventually. It's hard to tell. All this shit looks the same.
Stars.
It's a humpback whale.
Recorded. It could be a representation of V'ger's entire journey.
At the end of every human life on Earth.
Haven't got any goddamn feelings about that.
Yeah, so he did say this is a these are all
look right there. See it?
No, I missed it. I think was it down in the center?
Yeah,
I think I saw what you're talking about.
I'll show it to you later.
It was very quick.
Yeah, but when you know it's there, you see it very clearly.
Okay.
I am now quite convinced that all of this is V'ger. That we are inside a living machine.
Is he coming up on Ilia? Yeah.
Yeah.
So what's this supposed to be? Yeah, well, I don't know.
Who the hell knows?
The sensor.
I don't think they knew.
The sensor must contain some special meaning. The sensor on Ilia or the sensor here?
Both.
I must try to mind meld with it. Hot. Too hot.
And the same thing happens to him with Nomad.
You're right. It does.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I hadn't thought about that.
All this was a remake of The Changeling. Get out. Pooey.
Got spit out.
If V'ger had not spit him out, how the hell would he have even found him?
Yeah, well.
Spock. I got you.
Spock. Spock.
And like Kirk would have gone out there. I mean, I realize that's what Kirk does, but he's got really bigger things to do. He needs to stay on the ship.
Now scanning Pond's area. The spinal nerve fiber connection.
There's something about this shot that has always bugged me.
What? The shot of
Nimoy? He looks small, and
it's his shoulders. It's because of the cutout of the outfit.
Okay. For some reason, not here, but the overhead shot, he looks like a monkey to me. Because of his hair, he looks like a little chimp.
I don't even know what to say to that.
I don't know. He looks like a little chimp from like Project X. That's what I think of when I'm looking at it. It's hard for me to take seriously because he's got like this tiny little body and then this head with the hair, and the eyebrow. It looks like a chimp. I don't know.
I don't even know what to say to that.
Maybe nobody else will either. So he was supposed to say a tier for us, but he just said for us.
Yeah, and the for us was much more dramatic.
V'ger has knowledge that spans this universe.
Definitely the right choice.
With all its pure logic. V'ger is barren.
Yeah, it's that thing. It makes his shoulders look really tiny.
Yeah, what is that?
I don't know. It's a weird.
Because his shoulders are broad.
No one's shoulders are that tiny.
Why is it? It's like his body's actually underneath the table, and it's a kid's body.
I don't know.
There,
it is strange looking.
It's weird.
I mean, I've certainly noticed it before, but yeah, for some reason it just looks weird. See, like there, he looks a little more normal, but it's just the way that thing is shaping him.
And maybe that's why,
that throws you off.
What should you have known?
What? I was sleeping.
Oh, where am I? Stop touching me.
Back off.
Bros before hoes.
Bros before V'gers.
I love you too.
I know, right? Everything that Spock has been striving for the last few years, he's just pissing away in this scene, really. Although maybe he just needed to get it jarred out of him, because really that's not who he is. You know, he does balance emotion in himself all the time.
All that I am.
So I guess you could argue that too. Her nails are super long. Look at those puppies.
Oh.
Now you can't see
I'm not going to see him. Oh, well.
Kirk here.
A faint signal from Starfleet, sir. Intruder cloud has been located on the outer monitors for the past
That hair must be
27
really hard to maintain. Be really hard to maintain.
I would imagine so.
Well, how do you sleep? I don't know. I don't know how it works.
I have no idea, dude. I like how white sickbay is. I love that.
Well, this is
it's that 70s thing.
With 2, they just added more color, right? Is that everything?
I don't even think. Do we even really see sickbay like this at all? We see that one section, but I don't know if we really see it.
We're in it when his nephew dies, when Scotty's nephew dies.
Yeah, but we're in like a different room. That's like a special room.
You
This
sure?
is.
I thought it was this room.
I don't think so. I really don't. Those bio beds just stick around. They end up on the D.
So is this like its view screen?
I think it's the POV of V'ger there.
Well, because it doesn't look like it was a cloud anymore. I don't know.
Man. See, they didn't really think it through.
See, if the cloud was 82 AUs,
yeah.
What happened to the cloud, and why isn't it consuming everything? I don't get it. What happened?
Yeah, well, unless this is the very edge of it, right there at Earth, which means the cloud would be basically the rest of the solar system would be inside of V'ger.
Basically, that cloud, yeah. And much, much more, wouldn't it? I mean...
I would think.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't... Yeah, they really need to think some of that through.
It's like it's sending Braille. Oh, it's binary code. Okay.
Carrier wave signal. Radio.
FM or AM?
Radio.
Jim. V'ger expects an answer.
Thank you for telling me that.
Captain Obvious. You're promoted.
The creator has not responded.
It really just amazes me how obvious a ripoff of the Changeling this is.
Blow a booger at it.
I mean, right down to the creator stuff.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I mean, they had to know that a large part of the audience going to this are Trek fans and will have seen the show. And the Changeling was one of the more famous, popular episodes.
Yeah.
And here they're just redoing it. That's all it is. They might as well have just made it.
How
Nomad.
About when we saw friggin' Insurrection and they open up with Who Watches the Watchers, man?
Yeah, good point.
It's like, well, what the crap is this?
Although that was not one of their, fan favorites.
Better episodes, but still, it's a rip off the episode.
It certainly was.
Yeah. Friggin' better episode than movie, but anyway.
Yeah. No argument there.
Yeah.
You will bring back my wife.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Proceeding toward equidistant positions, orbiting the planet.
They're the same things that hit us.
Where are all the other ships? Seriously. Are
Yeah,
they the only ones?
Yeah, that's kind of strange.
I know that's a conceit in a lot of movies, that they're the only ship in range, that kind of thing. But this is Earth.
Yeah, where's the floating space docks?
There's something here.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, they just didn't have enough money to put in more ships.
Maybe.
The carbon unit infestation is to be removed from the creator's planet.
Jackson, Roy Kirk, Captain James Kirk. Yeah. Does sound similar.
Did Nomad call humans carbon based life forms?
I don't recall.
V'ger
No, biological infestations.
Something like that?
I know he does call them that.
Okay. I knew there was some kind of terminology that was similar. I couldn't place it.
I'm trying to think of what Kirk... Yeah, what does Kirk... I need these blanks to run the ship.
Why did he change his clothes?
Which one?
Well, Bones is wearing white. Now Kirk is wearing blue.
Well, they clearly have a lot of time on their hands as they're flying through this damn thing.
Apparently.
They just get bored and change.
Instinctively needing.
Needing what?
Spock, this child is about to wipe out every living thing on Earth. Now, what do you suggest we do?
Spank it.
Spank it. Yes, Doctor. Exactly.
Knows only that it needs, Commander. But like so many of us, it does not.
Oh, see what they did there?
No.
They made it like Spock. How very intelligent.
Oh.
He knows that he needs, but he doesn't know what.
The carbon units know why the Creator has not.
I wonder if they do call them carbon units in the Changeling.
Disclose the information.
Not until V'ger withdraws the devices orbiting the third planet.
Captain. I'm losing Starfleet. Interference from V'ger.
It tightened up the vagina and they lost radio signal.
Disclose the information.
Kirk unit.
It's very technical.
Kirk unit.
I do like that, though.
What, Kirk unit?
The pleading. I like that.
Secure all stations.
Well,
What?
Kirk was really, it's definitely a bluff, and he certainly plays it. But he's like, all right, everybody, let's go. Turn the lights. It's just like an airplane.
Airplane
Turn
2.
the lights off. All right, everybody, let's go. Let's hit.
Close out the bridge.
Nothing else we can do.
Let's go home. Yeah.
And at the last minute, she backs up. But what was he going to do if she didn't even understand what that was?
What a bluff was?
Yeah, what the threat was.
Sure.
Secure all stations. Move out. Jim, what the hell kind of strategy is this?
Ah, forget it. They're screwed. Let's get out of here. That's all I can see now.
Yeah.
It's the scene from Airplane 2.
The information V'ger requires will also be destroyed.
It is illogical to withhold required information. Kirk unit. Kirk unit.
Don't stop. Don't be dramatic. You got to keep going.
Because V'ger's going to destroy all the carbon units on the third planet.
See, I mean, here, at least there's actually something going on. But it took so long to get here.
Well, yeah, and unfortunately, it's not happening to the ship. It's happening to the Earth at large and on the view screen at that.
Yeah.
It's,
I think it would have been more intensified if there was, cutaways to Earth, if there was more communication with Earth or something, a juxtaposition.
Yeah, maybe so. Maybe that would have really heightened the tension. At the very least, give us, like a little communique from a station around Earth or something saying, my God, they're everywhere. They're doing this, even just a radio transmission.
Maybe.
That really would have heightened it. Yeah. But everything is, so contained here, unfortunately.
The carbon unit's information cannot be disclosed to V'ger's probe, but only to V'ger, directly.
And they want the code to release the information, so V'ger can send the information, right? But the probe that V'ger sent initially that killed Ilia, it scanned the computer. It should have the code. I mean, it's not like that's classified information. It's a probe from hundreds of years ago.
Yeah, but they may not have gotten everything.
Yeah, I don't know.
Spock did destroy
pretty
his panel,
smart.
So.
True. Maybe it interrupted it before, I guess. But I don't know. I think that's pretty thin. Pretty fucking thin.
Yeah, wife's cooking. I'm not surprised.
What'd you say?
Nothing. Refresh my memory about the code part, as it escaped my memory for a little bit.
Ilia is asking for the code. They don't know what code they're talking about. The crew.
She's asking for the code to...
She's saying release the information. He doesn't really know what it is. He's kind of bluffing. It's only once they get to V'ger itself and they realize what V'ger is that they realize that the code is and I think Decker's the one that says it, the code to send the information. V'ger has accumulated all this knowledge and needs to release it to the creator, but it can only do that with the code. And then Kirk orders to get the code, and Uhura gives it to them and everything. Up at this point, the Enterprise crew has absolutely no idea what they're talking about, but they're just using it as an excuse to get close to V'ger.
I read an oxygen gravity envelope forming outside the Enterprise.
What do you think about the shot coming up here where they come out on the surface of the ship?
I was going to mention that. I remember that being one of the bigger effects changes in the director's cut.
Yeah, they did alter it. They made it, in this, it comes off as very, very fisheye. They make it less so in the director's cut. And I don't know, I'm kind of partial to the fisheye thing,
Since I've seen this version so many times lately, I don't quite remember the director's cut. So,
it's the same angle and everything. It's just that they redid it in CG, and it doesn't have the fisheye vision that this one will. You'll see shortly.
Mr. Decker, I will contact you every 5 minutes.
Captain, I'd like to go along.
Yes. Let's bring our entire command staff down here. I won't leave you because you might actually serve some function here. Instead, I'll take you with me. Yes. Bring everyone of value.
Well, he's not of value. Not according to him, Kirk.
See how fisheye it is?
Yeah. It kind of looks like the saucer from the Day We Stood Still.
Yeah, it does, huh?
Yeah.
But they made it less so in the director's cut.
Yeah, sure. It is kind of neat, though, to see them walking on the saucer like that.
Oh, totally. It's totally cool.
Yeah.
You really got a sense of just how big this ship is.
Well, yeah. We've never seen that kind of thing before. That is kind of neat.
No. The only other time I remember anyone on the bridge of or on the surface of a ship was in TNG.
First Contact.
True. Yeah.
Oh, you're talking about True Q?
Yeah.
But that was really fish-eyed.
Yeah, it was. And with TV effects. This was
sure.
High resolution and the whole deal. Although that doesn't look right.
No.
That looks way too small.
Yeah, it does.
Well, we're finally here. It took an hour and a half to get here, but...
yeah, I'm exhausted. Jeez.
And
they changed their clothes to go. Why?
They did. Why? I don't know. Yeah, they put on their space jackets.
Yeah, it might be cold out there. You never know.
Yeah, the beginning of the movie was far more interesting than this stuff.
Well, because it was just
with all the character stuff, building it up.
Yeah, and the mystery of what was out there.
Sure.
Yeah. It is a little kind of anticlimactic, I guess.
And at this point,
this build up to...
we have figured it out. The audience has figured it out. As soon as we saw it, you're like, oh, Voyager. Okay.
They may not pinpoint Voyager. They may not be aware Voyager was a probe. But they're looking at that like, obviously that's man-made. Like, okay.
Yeah, but you put it together, and they seem pretty slow to figure it out.
Well, they have to be. They have to keep it a mystery for as long as possible.
Yeah, but the audience
for our
is ahead
benefit.
of them, though.
Why does it look a little misty? A little soft?
I don't know. Maybe it's... I don't know.
Here it doesn't, but some
Certain
shots look
do.
a little soft.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it has to do with all the lighting on the set. Maybe it was throwing off the way the camera was receiving it. I don't know.
I wonder whatever happened to these characters. Did they ever talk about them in any kind of a novel or anything like that?
What? You mean Decker and Ilia?
Yeah.
Not that I know of. I'm sure somewhere out there's some sort of fiction that addresses them.
Feature.
Because, there's no connection from this movie to the others, So it just seems kind of lost a little bit.
Although maybe when they, when V'ger and the whole thing kind of zaps itself into infinity, maybe it runs into Tin Man out there in space.
Because it looks like the Tin Man explosion.
It does, and there's something very Tin Man about it. That it's calling to someone, and Tam Elbrum comes, and it wants to bond with someone. That's basically this,
Yeah.
In fact, I wonder if that episode was somewhat inspired by this. I wonder, because they are so similar.
And transmit it back to Earth.
I wouldn't be surprised. Star Trek does seem to rip itself off quite a bit. What do you think of this as a finale? I mean, here we've had the whole damn movie is full of
history,
this space stuff, and then here this finale takes place on this very enclosed set. What do you think?
It's very original series styling. I mean, if this was a 45-minute episode in the original series, this would be a very fitting ending. I get it, it's a movie. It's small.
Well, yeah, definitely.
But it's fine. As I said, I've grown to like it. So,
and fell into the machine planet's gravitational field.
Machine inhabitants.
Doesn't it drive you nuts when characters know little bits of history that probably they wouldn't?
NASA, National Aeronautics and Space Administration. That was over 300 years ago.
And then he's like, Voyager. They know exactly what happened to Voyager 6. They just know this.
I happen to know that, Captain, because at Starfleet Academy, I took a class on.
They always
I took
do
an
that.
elective course in history.
Whenever something odd, comes to the ship, like in Voyager, for example, when they find that car floating in space for season 3
Paris
or 2. Paris, all of a sudden, he's an expert on 20th century stuff. He loves it.
Yeah.
And then when they go to the ocean planet, miraculously, Paris is like, I grew up thinking of the ocean. I love the ocean. You're like, really? I love the ocean. That's convenient.
Suddenly he talks like a surfer.
I know.
The ocean.
that one really. I don't mind the 20th century thing because they stuck to it. They had him be a 20th century aficionado, right? But the water thing, you're like, that came out of nowhere.
Yeah, it did.
But they always do that.
Order up the ship's computer library.
They have a character miraculously, have a knowledge and history of this specific thing that they need. Someone to talk about.
Instructs the probe to transmit its data. And faster, Laura, faster.
Aye, sir.
That's what
fast.
Its readiness to transmit its information.
And luckily, they still had that information.
Yeah,
why
what
would
are
they?
the odds that their computer happened to have
Why
it?
would they even have it?
They wouldn't.
Yeah, there'd be no reason.
Maybe somewhere in Starfleet headquarters somewhere it's in an archive, but not readily available on the bridge.
Data
of the
disk
Enterprise.
in a box somewhere.
Yeah,
buried.
Yeah. It would not be so easy to pull up like that.
No.
There's no reason that would take up space in the Enterprise computer.
Feature.
This is good. We are the creator.
That is not logical.
We will make it possible for you to complete your programming. Only the creator could
An
accomplish
imperfect being created you. That means you are imperfect. Error. Error. Examine.
They found it pretty quick. Got the code already.
and transmit the code now.
Transmitting.
504.
Awfully convenient that Decker came along. This is going to come in handy very shortly. They need someone to bond with him.
510. And the final sequence.
That should trigger Voyager's transmitter.
Well, it would have been awkward if, Spock bonded with her.
Well, given how open-ended this ending is, I'm really surprised that, Next Generation, even though it made a very obvious effort to kind of steer away from the original series stuff, how cool would it have been? How cool would it have been?
Oh, you're excited.
For Tin Man to be Decker, They should have run into Decker. How cool would that have been?
Sure,
to
why
have
not?
this consciousness reaching out, pulls Tam Elbrum in, and what do you know? It's Decker in a reformed Decker, you know, in this crap. That would have been awesome. That would have been an awesome recall, you know. And you don't need Shatner. It's none of that stuff. It's just Decker. We know what it is.
Yeah,
that would have been really, really neat.
I would have liked to have seen the character again.
Yeah, you know that would have been.
Even though we kind of gave him shit in this movie as a character, but
yeah, but still, how cool would
that
have been? You know, he could. Oh, you know what they should have. You know what they should have done. Forget it being the Tin Man episode. They should have just had the Enterprise come upon Decker. You know, they find him on a planet somewhere, and he's been ejected from the V'ger consciousness.
Yeah,
and he's, you know, his mind is messed up. You know, and just follow up with that character. That would have been really, really neat.
Yeah,
Ilia's dead. She's in a different thing, but he was different. They absorbed him. It was a different kind of process. So,
well, that would be a one for true fans. You know what I mean?
But it would have been an interesting episode anyway.
Oh yeah, sure.
Of just having a character that was taken into essentially almost like a Borg consciousness. You know, to where V'ger knows the knowledge of the universe, but now he's contained inside of his little brain. And
he would have been like
he's going nuts.
A Bowman type character.
Yeah. I mean, man, they really had an opportunity there. Just blew it.
Well, we should have, you know, while TNG was still on the air, we could have written an episode for the show and submitted it. Maybe they would have used it.
Yeah, well, too bad, so sad.
Or if you just submit the idea, didn't they just have story pitch meetings with people?
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
That definitely would have been a good one. And, you know, I mean, obviously he was still acting, so you could have used him.
He was doing Seventh Heaven, right?
Yeah. With Dr. Gillian Taylor.
Yeah, I know.
Taylor!
Didn't what's his name show up on Seventh Heaven? Terrell. Didn't he have a guest spot on there, and it's 3 people from Star Trek?
Jesus, I don't. How do you know that?
Just one of those.
I don't know. I don't recall that. I'm not saying it didn't happen. I just don't recall.
Although I do like seeing them all bathed in red like that. That's pretty neat.
It looked good on Blu-ray, but remember when it was on video? Video couldn't hold it, and it would always bleed.
Oh, did it?
Yeah, it never looked great. You had to really turn down the color on your TV to make it look good.
Decker, you don't know what that'll do to you. Yes, I do, Doctor.
Decker, don't.
So let's stick the thing in the whatchamacallit here, and I want this.
I want this.
But why? Because I haven't done shit since we left. I want to have some value here. She's looking pretty good in that light.
Yeah.
He really has no idea what's about to happen. I mean,
no,
it's kind of ballsy.
I mean, did he really love her that much? I guess. I mean, they didn't really say love. They just like dated or something.
Yeah, they
had a
hooked
fling.
up. Yeah, it's kind of. Yeah.
Well, I mean, maybe because Deltons are such sex kittens, you know, maybe it was really worth it.
Maybe.
You know.
Very 70s.
Yeah.
Looks cool, though. It's an iconic shot.
Oh, yeah.
When she steps in there with him.
Oh, well, yeah.
Yeah,
right
that's a good shot. Almost feels like Millennium.
It does, doesn't it? That is like the Millennium shot.
Yeah.
It is.
Whoa, this is blowing my mind, babe. See my hair? Well, you don't have any, so you don't know, but this is cool. Okay, I think we ought to go.
Yeah, it's time to go. Bones was the first one, like,
seriously.
It's time to get out of here.
Let's go. Well, he's the slower one. He better get moving quicker.
Yeah.
Now, why is that happening, though?
This?
Yeah, why is it, expanding? What's happening?
I don't really know what's happening. Maybe just because I haven't focused on the climax. What just happened here? What? I know Tin Man just blew up, but
yeah.
I guess V'ger just is gone now.
Evaporated into the universe?
Into the ether?
I guess.
I don't know.
And what does that mean for Decker? It's very odd.
And they don't really say. Do they say? I don't know.
No,
Are they going to say?
Not really. My God, that's a big ship. Not so big as our captain, I think.
Did we just see the beginning of a new life form?
Yes, Captain.
We just saw a life form forming. So yes, we witnessed a birth, a next step in our evolution.
That's kind of a stretch.
Well, they didn't really. How do they get this information from?
They didn't. They're guessing.
I mean, shouldn't they be like, well, where did he go? What happened?
Yeah,
is he still here?
They're making a lot of supposition here based on very little facts.
I mean, maybe if there was some kind of communication from Decker,
yeah,
saying maybe just simple text on the screen.
Said something like, all of these
worlds are yours except for Europa. Use them together. Use them in peace. Except no landings there.
Yeah,
yeah. It's very good that our minds both went to that.
Well, of course it would.
Right. We should do a fan edit that part in.
Yeah,
that'd be really funny.
It would have made. At least it would have given some sort of conclusion. I can hear the 2010 music in my head now.
So that's what I'm hearing right now.
I would hum it, but you can't really hum that.
No, you can't hum that part.
It doesn't work.
No. It's kind of like percussion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's time for that, sir. Aye. We can have you back on Vulcan in 4 days, Mr. Spock.
Unnecessary, Mr.
Scott. 4
Scott.
days. That's pretty quick.
Is it?
4 days to Vulcan, man. They're at Earth.
Isn't that those are the same jackets they kind of keep though for the second one? They just change them red, right? They're kind of very similar.
They
just kind of make them red, and
like
they puff them up a little bit.
Maybe
they put the things on.
Maybe, yeah.
They look very similar.
Where does he think he's going? They need to go back to space dock.
Did he just say?
He's like that away.
That away.
It's a cute line, but really they need to go back.
But
to
you know
Earth.
what Sulu's doing right now is like, Captain, that's not really coordinates.
That is mutiny.
I need somewhere to go.
This is not your ship. Bring it back. I love those mountains in there. That's what I always see. I see what looks like mountains. What is that?
Mountains. It looks like a.
Oh, it's the botanical garden.
It's like an arboretum. Yeah.
Yeah. Now I see. That was the roof I was looking at. Wow, that's a really detailed.
And now you will join them for one last adventure. But the end of history lies. The undiscovered country. Dun 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 dun.
Yeah.
Best teaser trailer ever.
Awesome. Well, I know.
Oh boy.
All right. Well, Jesus, that was a snooze fest for the last 30 minutes. I apologize to anyone who's actually listened this far.
The human adventure is just beginning. Yeah, it's a difficult movie to talk over. But I'm not going to say that the movie...
It started well, but there was just that it just died at the end.
Well, it's the movie... There's not a lot going on. It's a movie that you just kind of have to absorb and let wash over you. And it's difficult to commentate over because there really isn't a whole lot going on.
But there were things going on. When they had the character stuff going on, that was interesting.
Yeah.
But towards the end, it's everything is done. The character stuff is done.
Isaac Asimov is a special science consultant.
Yeah, so they said. I don't recall...
So they say. They just give him a credit.
They don't talk to him. There's never been any interviews where he spoke about it that I know of.
Okay.
So let's wrap this up. Let's not get through these whole credits.
Okay. I still enjoy the movie. I enjoy it more now than I ever have in my whole life. Even after this commentary, as I said, it's just hard to talk over.
Yeah.
It is without the music, without actually hearing the dialogue. Trying to comment on it for 2 hours and 10 minutes is difficult, but it doesn't lessen my feeling of the movie. It's elevated to a 4-star movie. I really enjoy it. I think it's really classic Trek. Very, very classy, very well done.
Mm-hmm.
How about you?
Well, I agree with you. It's classic Trek, and I It's slower than a lot of other Trek movies, obviously, but it's not a bad movie by any stretch. It's a good movie. It just could have benefited from some trimming, obviously. But the movie itself is good. You know, like you said, it's classy. And as you and I have talked about many, many other times before, 70s movies have a look to them. And this looks gorgeous. You know, the sets look great. It's lit great. Everyone looked good. Everyone looked $1 million, like you said. And I like that. You know, the movies do change their appearance from Trek 2 forward. That's not a bad thing. It's not a good thing. It's just a thing. This had a certain 70s look to it. And I got to say, I'm drawn to that. But, you know, it's a good movie. It's just flawed in its editing. That's all. But I still like it. I enjoy it. I don't think it's a bad movie. Like, is unfortunately given a, you know, it has that reputation. It's not. They certainly has a reputation of being slow, which it is, but not bad. So, okay. I guess that's it.
All right. Well, this is Josh, soulless minions of orthodoxy. Thanks for listening. Good night.
And this is Justin, and I don't know if we'll follow through with it, but we should definitely tag in here at the end of our commentary the music to the end of 2010.
I don't know. We can't do it.
To round it out, we should. I wish we could hum it.
You can't.
Dun, 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 dun.
Dun. You can't do it.
Yeah.
You can't.
All right, we tried.
Good night.
All right, bye.